Your greatest responsibility is to love yourself and to know that you are enough. Hi, I am Rosy Bonita Fernandes and I am the founder of Being Beautiful. And I am here to inspire with Voice Out. Being beautiful is about self acceptance and about being yourself. So, let me tell you a very short story of why I'm doing this. Well, while I am getting trained to be a life coach, and life coaching is all about, inspiring lives. All I want to say is we somewhere down the line are always inspiring someone or the other. All we need to do is voice out. So, welcome to my talk show, Voice Out, Speak Up to Reach Out, and this is my first episode. My first guest today is Karina Lobo, and I have known her for a real long time. It's almost close to a decade that I know her, and she's been my first friend here in Oman. She is far beyond than beautiful. She is someone who has learned how to survive through the rain and emerge as a beautiful rainbow. Well, I chose the color red for today's episode is because we all know that red symbolizes love. And there is nothing greater than God's love and, of course, love for ourselves, which is also called as
pro. I am not a coach. I am not a therapist, not a doctor. I am purely speaking based on my experiences, the things that I have been through. So I'm sorry if I tend to speak certain things. It's just my life that has brought me here till far, and I'm just going to be as honest as I can. Um, Number one, the reason why I am on Voice Out, like Rosie said, it's because she was my first ever friend that I had in Oman. The moment I landed in Oman, the first month that I was there, I met Rosie. And the only reason that I'm doing this show, firstly, is because of her. I wouldn't have done it, to be honest, if it was anyone else, because I find it easier to speak one on one than speaking about my life and my experiences in public. But yeah, the first and foremost reason is because of her. My second reason is that I am hoping, I don't expect to change lives. I don't expect to do anything big, but I'm hoping that maybe some of my words or something brings a smile onto someone else and maybe helps them overcome whatever they are going through right now. It could be anything. It could be someone going through, I don't know, Corona right now, COVID, and having virus right now, and whatever is happening to them. Maybe something that I've been through in my past helps them maybe just bring a smile on their face. That's all I'm hoping through Voice Out.
Yeah, and Karina, we got a comment here saying that by Asta Fernandez that you're looking beautiful. Yes, I forgot to say that. Yes, you're looking very beautiful today.
Thank you so much. And that's my cutest little niece,
Oh, how
my
sweet.
little one. So, yeah, thank you so much, baby.
Okay. Even all of the listeners, if you guys have any questions for Karina, you all can park those questions towards the end of the show, or you can leave the questions in the chat box and she will answer them. Okay. So, okay, Karina, since you are aware of the concept of being beautiful and you have been following my page. So, what do you hear when you, or what comes to your mind when you hear the word beautiful, or what is beautiful according to you?
For me, more than your physical appearance, I wouldn't even have these cliche terms of your inner appearance, inner beauty, and all of that. For me, beautiful is when you can actually bring on a smile or put a smile on someone else's face despite what you are going through and despite what they are going through. So, at your worst days, even if you can bring a smile onto someone else who's going through hard days, you know that that is a beautiful thing. That's the best thing ever. I mean, I know I have been through that. I have been through certain times where I used to cry, and I've had friends or family speaking to me about some problem that they have had. And I have, actually, say, for example, I don't know, when I lost my job, for example, I didn't know what to do in my life. I was just broken. I lost my job. My parents were visiting me in Oman, and I had to leave from office, come home, and smile in front of my parents, because my parents think that, oh, Karina is our cartoon, she's our comedy, she does whatever she can and make us smile. And I had to do that. Trust me, for the next 1 week, 1 week I actually pretended like I used to go to work, and I used to come back home laughing, just so that my parents smiled. So, it was tough for me, but I tried doing that for my parents. So this is what I mean. I mean, even though you're going through something really difficult, and you know that someone else is also going through something else, and you actually bring on a smile on their face, that's the best thing. That's the most beautiful thing. You don't have to worry about your inner beauty, outer beauty, your looks. It doesn't matter. This all of this is going to fade with time. You're not going to look the same. You're not going to have the same kind of character, or I don't know, your whatever self. It's not going to happen 10 years down the lane.
So I think I seen you during that period. I mean, even after you got divorced and when you lost your job as well. So very rightly said. I seen you go through so much. I seen you when you cried. I also seen you when you were happy. And yes, you have been that little cartoon, I think, with us as well. You're always making, even me smile for that matter. There are times where, I have reached out to you personally with my own experiences, and you have given me that hand when you yourself, needed some kind of courage. I think that is that courage, which we all, don't have it at some time, but we just develop that with the experiences what, life throws at us.
Yeah, true.
Okay. So, what were your struggles with self love and how did you overcome it? See, we have so many versions of self love. You will see it all over social media. People talk about self love, they will put pictures of them on Instagram, on any kind of social media platform. They will tag hashtag self love. So, what is your version of it?
For me, self-love begins from yourself. Yeah, that's why the term self-love. It starts from you, it ends with you. You cannot, in this journey, you cannot expect anyone, for that matter, whether it's your parents, it's your siblings, it's your spouse, your kids, your friends, your childhood friend, whoever. You cannot expect that from somebody else. You should not. Okay. Now, me as a very young girl, as a child, even though I had those canines of mine which looked like a dog, I thought I was the best looking thing in this whole world. That was me as a kid. But as I grew, as I started getting negative comments from people, as people started pointing out towards my height, my body, my whatever, I started hating myself. The moment, sometimes out of the blue, if someone told me, hey, you're looking beautiful, I actually said, really? Like, I have this, I have that, I have this, and this is wrong with me, and I'm like this and I'm like that. That's actually me. That's me for so many years. I don't know. It has been me. And it took me a lot of time, a lot of my energy, a lot of my patience to realize that self love began from me. And until I start falling in love with myself, loving everything about me, my flaws, my worst habits, everything, I can never be happy. So I started with things like, I don't know, I used to dress up. I really took on the strength and energy to, uh, when I was going through my health. I had this phase right after my divorce when I was going through a very bad health. I remember certain people in my office. These were some other colleagues and everything. They started telling me things like, "What's happening to your face? You're looking so thin. Like, what's wrong with your hair?" And I was like, I didn't know what was wrong with me, to be honest. I had no idea what was wrong with me. And till then I thought everything was fine in me. And I was like, no, nothing's wrong. I'm fine. I'm okay. And that went on and on and on and on. And suddenly after my surgery, I was so let down in my life that I thought I was good for nothing. Like, not just, a marriage, not just my health, but I was convinced that I was good for nothing. Not even my looks mattered to anyone. But then I had a friend of mine who said, you know what, I think you need to join the gym with me. And I wasn't, a person who had to go to the gym and,
Sure.
do something. And this was like probably 4 or 5 years back, 5 years ago. So she pushed me for this. And I met this coach of mine, my gym trainer. I explained to him everything, and I literally cried in front of him. And he is the guy who doesn't care about your tears. He won't be bothered if you cry, you die, you do whatever, he doesn't care. But this man, he actually took me on board with him. And the first month that I struggled to work on my body and work on myself, and I kept telling him, Coach, I can't do this anymore. I really cannot do this. It's too heavy. I can't lift this bar. I can't lift this weight. I can't do this. And my coach just told me, do you want to be heard that you're good for nothing and you don't love yourself anymore? Do you want to be told that every time? Do you want people to pinpoint at your thin hands? He repeated every word that I said about my looks for the next 1 or 2 months or something like that. And I remember after 3 or 4 months, he asked me, do you remember the first month when you kept telling this, when you said you were good for nothing, and look at you today? Ever since that phase and that line of his, I started loving myself. I realized that I was good for something. It was just me who hated myself and who took everyone else's advice and words. When people told me things, I believed them, and I never looked at the part that I was actually good for things. So these things, the moment I started realizing that yes, I can do a lot with myself, I can love myself if I actually put that time and effort, and if I forget about the world, I can just move on. So that was my changing point, where I started appreciating things in me. I no longer, when people told me that, oh, she cannot do anything, I actually, when my dad asked me, when I after me joining the gym, when I traveled to India to visit my parents on my birthday 1 year later, my dad said, how did you carry all of these bags? I told my dad, you know what, my hands, I might look very short, I might have very thin hands, but I did this on my own, and I did not ask any porter or anyone to help me out. And I told my dad, wait, I'll prove it to you. I lifted my bags, which were like, for me it was a big thing, yeah, because my hands are really thin and I cannot do a lot of things, or at least I thought I could not, because people always made fun of me. But when I did that in front of my dad actually laughed, and he had nothing to say. He just laughed, because I am a stubborn girl. In my head, I'm a strong girl. So yeah. So I think loving yourself in every form, this is just an example that I've given, but loving yourself in every form, accepting yourself in every way, starts and ends only with you. You shouldn't be expecting any of these things from anyone else. You don't need others to validate what your worth is, or how pretty you are, or whatever it is. You should love yourself, and that's what it is.
I think I would like to clap for you, Karina, and all the listeners also, if you all can clap. I mean, this is something amazing and really, really inspirational. And thank you so much, Karina, for sharing your view. Okay, so why why do we lose ourselves into negativity of often? Normally we do get into self love, but there are days where even me, personally, I love myself, but there are days where negativity is around me. I feel low. I struggle to get up. Why do we go through these kind of emotions?
See, it's very normal. Okay, I wouldn't say that only a person who has to what do you say, a person who's depressed goes through this, or a person who has some other issues should go through it, or someone who's suffering through cancer goes through this. This is, we as human beings, it's very normal. Yeah. We can go through depression and negativity at any point in time. And I think most of it also surrounds most of it happens because of people that we are around. Yeah,
Yes.
sometimes,
True.
when it takes a second when a person just tells you something for your mind to completely change.
True.
So if someone's say for example, someone's telling you something, I
Hmm.
don't know, I mean, it could be like, uh, say someone's telling you about some issue of theirs, they're
Hmm.
speaking to you over and over of their problems, you start thinking in your head about your problems.
Hmm.
So, my
Yes.
friend is talking to me about her
Yes.
problems with her husband, and
Yes.
suddenly, I'm just sitting there,
Yes.
I'm listening to her, but at the same time I start thinking of, okay, yeah, even I'm having this problem. And your mind starts deviating, and it goes to something else, and you start thinking, okay, fine, this is her problem, so even I'm having this. And then you're just building unnecessary things
Yes.
in your head. Yeah,
Overthinking.
sometimes, yeah, you're just making things in your head, if I have to say. So this is something very natural. It Even though there is no issue in your life, at times we are just thinking things that are just not required.
Yeah.
So calm yourself down. Everything isn't a problem. Take few minutes of your time whenever you think. At least when I feel, see, even now I still practice the process of being happy, pulling
Hmm.
myself out of negativity. I still do that. I do it every single day. It's not easy for me. I've left a lot of things and I've come to a new country, so I have absolutely nothing over here. So I am still practicing a lot of things that, oh my god, I'm getting into some eggshell again and things are going wrong. I take a few moment time, I start doing things that I feel happy about. If I'm happy about playing a game on my phone, I start playing games. Regardless of what's happening around me, I start playing games. I avoid my phone. I probably go to cook. I probably start painting or sketching or whatever is, take up something that is therapeutic to you. Try to get yourself out of that negativity. There's no other way. Negativity and putting yourself in very low days is very common. Sometimes it's hormonal, sometimes it's because of the things that you've actually been through.
True.
It takes time to get out of a bad phase into a happy phase. It is not going to happen overnight. You have to
Very true.
cry. I tell my friends, I tell my family, if you have to cry and vent it out, cry for 1 month, 2 months, 1 year, whatever. You keep
Yeah.
crying, vent it all out, and then just remember to laugh and make yourself strong. Do not put yourself back into that phase again. Do not push yourself. If you have to stay away from negativity to this extent that you need to distance yourself from negative people or things, do that. You do
True.
not have to explain why you do what you do. If it is for your own self, if it is for you to be happy, do it. Do not explain yourself. People do not need justification. It's your life at the end of the day. If you choose certain things, it's for you. No one's going to come. Everybody is going to come and ask you when you're happy and look at you. But when you are at your worst days, there are hardly any people that come to
Very
you.
true.
Nobody even wants to sit by your side and look at you crying every single day or be angry. So when you need what you need, do it. And do not explain yourself. It does not require any
Yeah.
justification. This is what it is.
Very well said, Karina.
I just
I think
realized that I'm saying this is what it is after every sentence, right? I just
uh,
realized that.
that's fine. Well, I think, yeah, because, when you are at your lowest, there will be people who make assumptions in their head, stating that, oh, she has attitude, oh, she doesn't bother to call, or she doesn't bother to check on me. But how many times have you bothered to check why this person is not, in touch, or what has happened? I think very few do that, like your inner circle, or somebody who really knows you. And there are people who, who are egoistic, thinking like, why should I message first? But I think if you really love someone and if you really care about that person, you don't have to think, why that person has not messaged. You can also message and check whether he or she is doing fine. So that is very important as well. So, my next
Yeah.
question to you is it common to feel extreme sadness or depression after, a big positive change?
Yes. Before any big positive change, it is very common to feel depressed or stressed out. It is very, very natural. I'll give you this example of my marriage, which has just been like almost 5 months now. I'm newly married for the second time, of course, like
Congratulations.
most of you know. Um, thank you. So I did not plan this. I kept telling my parents, if I have to stay single, I will stay single because I do not want to go through that. Not that my first marriage was any abusive, it wasn't an abusive marriage or a violent thing or anything like that. It was toxic in the sense, I don't think we had anything in common to be in that, and it did not make sense for us to be in a relationship that is just ruining not just both our lives but also our families.
Yeah.
It was just
True.
ruining that. So after that, I decided I just did not want to have anything to do with marriage or anything to do with as any other normal human would want. Marriage is a one time thing. You do not go through it over and over again. So I kept telling my parents that, I do not want to get married. I do not want to get married. And there was this time where after I went to India, I was fine. I started doing things that diverted my mind. I enjoyed my loneliness. I enjoyed it to the core. Let me tell you that. I was very happy. I traveled, I cooked, I did what I wanted to do. I met my friends, I had time for myself. I did every possible thing and I was happy. Uh, but yes, with losing my job, there was this time when had to give up my whole entire life that I spent in the Middle East. It wasn't easy for me to move to India. So when
Mhm.
I went there, I took up a lot of things and I decided I would settle there. And finally, when I got adjusted there to that country, I met, uh, I was introduced to my husband.
Mhm.
I did not plan to get married. I did not want anything to do with marriage. And uh, before meeting him, let me tell you, it was kind of, it used to be very upsetting, but I kept having faith and gratitude every single day.
Mhm.
And it was not just about prayers. I believed that there was a lot of things coming to me in abundance. I believed in that. I kept repeating it every
Mhm.
single day. I kept repeating a lot of affirmations. I kept doing that. And honestly speaking, I did not know how. I was financially broke. I was living with my parents.
Mhm.
I did not want to live with my parents. I wanted to have my own house. So I didn't understand what to do. I was in a country and in a state that I didn't even know. I never learned those languages ever.
Mhm.
But living there, I even picked up on those. I had a tough time, but I repeated things one after the other. I kept repeating it every single day, and I'm not kidding you, but um I have never been so pure with my affirmations ever. I just prayed and that's it. I
Mhm.
never went through the hassle of believing and gratitude and all of this. But trust me, when I started doing that in 2 months' time, I was getting a lot of job calls at the same time, this marriage, at the same time, so many things were just happening. It was just happening.
Mhm.
And I just accepted it one after the other. And when I thought of it, why is all this happening? And then I realized the phase when I lost my job, And after I lost my job, and I got another job opportunity, and I came all the way to Bahrain. And those people, after signing a job offer, when they declined my sending me a visa, and then I was stuck in Bahrain for 6 months because of COVID, and then I had to come back to India. I realized that that whole 1.5 year, I guess, happened for a reason. I had to cry, I had to go through all of that. I
Yeah,
had to go through a lot of pain to be where I am at today. So, yes, you have to go through a lot of pain before a very big positive change. It usually happens that we fail to see things, why it happens, like
yeah,
certain things, when you're upset, when you're depressed, when you're angry, you do not see it once you get something good in your life. But
yeah,
when you actually think about it, you realize that yes, all of these things happened because of this. It has happened to me so many times. This is something very simple that I've said, but it has happened to me so many times. And I've, whenever those bad things happen to me, I always sat and I criticized God. I always said, God, not again. Why me? Why me out of everyone? Why is everyone having a great life? And why am I going through so many things?
yeah,
But, it took me a lot of time to realize that things do happen for a reason. You are not put in that hell for no reason.
true,
You have to go through that hell to come out, into this nice floor of roses and to walk on
true,
those.
true.
You have to go through a lot of thorns in your life.
Yes,
So yeah,
yeah.
I mean, this
Yeah,
is
that is
why.
why I also say, be your own rainbow, is because
Yeah,
rainbow is always after a storm, and no storm is permanent in your life.
yeah,
So whenever a storm gets over, you are definitely going to see a rainbow. And don't search for that rainbow in anything or anyone. I think you can be your own rainbow. And which is why we also say, you can also say, be your own hero. And it is, I believe very strongly in that, because that has helped me as well to come out of my own personal struggles. Well, like you were just saying about affirmations, why do you think affirmations are necessary, and what is that one advice you would like to give people who are going through tough, challenging times?
okay. Affirmations, like I said previously, is that it's really necessary, because when you have that gratitude and you believe something is happening or will happen, regardless of what your state is, it actually comes true. It's because you're being really strong in your mind, and you know that no current negativity or future or past negativity is going to change that. You really need to believe every single day that yes, you can do it, regardless of what the world is going to say everything to you. Yeah, so I would like to advise, at least based on my personal experience, that don't let everyone else decide what you have to go through, or what you are going through, or what you will go through. You decide it on your own. If you think you cannot do it, you cannot do it. That's it. If
Yeah,
you think you can do it, give yourself time. See, I know people do not have time. I've come here to a new country, and I've met so many mothers who are struggling. They don't even have relatives here. They have nobody to take care, but still they work. Still, they're managing their kids. There are some who are divorced. There are people who are struggling because their husbands have to work in a different area, and while they're staying somewhere else, which is like a long drive, they get to meet their families
mm,
maybe just once in a week, or once in 2 weeks.
mm,
So everybody has a different story. No one's living a great life. What you see on social media is just for social media. No
true,
one's putting their divorces on social media. No one's putting
true.
their cancer
Failures.
photos. No, nobody puts anything. Yeah, exactly, failures. Nobody puts anything on social media, so don't go by that. Don't go by, what do you say, the cover of the book. Don't go by that.
Yeah,
Always see inside, because the moment you try digging into someone's life, you'll know that no one's life is perfect.
yeah,
Everyone is struggling, everyone has their own issue. So try, at least in a day, give yourself 5 or 10 minutes of time to yourself, away from your kids. I know it's difficult. I cannot speak for moms much, but I can say that, okay, I don't have kids, so I do not know how it is like for kids to be jumping on my head, or
Yeah.
punishing me, or killing me with their words. I have no idea about these things, but all I can say is you can give yourself 5 or 10 minutes of time to just yourself, like just sit, maybe do something that helps you for your own health, or I don't know, maybe just work out. If jogging makes you happy, cooking makes you happy, listening to music, reading a book, painting, like
True.
for me painting makes me really happy, and this is a hobby, thanks to COVID pandemic, that I learned. I didn't know,
Yeah.
I was a horrible artist before, but you have to give yourself some time. Even I'm sure everybody can give themselves 5 minutes of their time in a day. Just
True.
give that, and it really really helps. You will not know how it changes your life the moment you start doing things for your own self. The moment you start, you will see positive changes in you.
Positive changes.
From
Yeah.
5 minutes it'll change to maybe a half an hour or 5 hours or whatever in a day. It will help you.
Yeah.
So this is one advice. There's nothing else. Don't, like I've said from the beginning, do not depend on others for anything.